The legend of the female stranger goes something like this. A young couple arrived in Alexandria, Virginia in a ship sometime in 1816 and rented a room, later reported to be room 8, at Gatsby's Tavern. The woman was seriously ill, and a doctor was hired by the husband to help take care of her. However, the doctor, along with 2 maids that were also helping take care of the woman at the hotel, were asked not to question the woman's identity, and even went as far as to hide her face from them. The woman's condition became progressively worse, and she died on the 14th of October 1816. A local businessman lent $1,500 to the husband for the burial, but the note from the bank that the husband used to repay was a counterfeit. The husband quickly escaped town after his wife was buried. It is hard to say how much of this story is true, as there are multiple accounts of the story told throughout the years, but what is real is the grave of the female stranger, and it can be found in St. Paul's Cemetery of the St. Paul's Episcopal Church, located in Alexandria, Virginia. Of the inscriptions in the gravestone, the following was written: "To the memory of a female stranger whose mortal sufferings terminated on the 14th day of October 1816, aged 23 years and 8 months. This stone is placed here by her disconsolate husband, in whose arms she sighed out her latest breath, and who, under God, did his utmost even to soothe the cold, dead ear of death." There have been multiple theories raised throughout the last 2 centuries as to who the female stranger really was. One of the more popular theories, referenced by many, was that the woman was Theodosia Burr Alston, the daughter of Aaron Burr, the 3rd Vice President of the US, and she was the wife of Joseph Alston, who was the governor of South Carolina when the War of 1812 took place. On the 31st of December 1812, months after the War of 1812 began, Theodosia sailed aboard the Patriot from Georgetown, South Carolina, to make the journey to her dad in New York. However, they never made it to New York, and those aboard the ship were deemed lost at sea. The commonly accepted theory is that those aboard the Patriot died in a shipwreck. However, other theories include the Patriot being taken over by pirates, leading to the capture of Theodosia, and a dramatic romance legend involving a Karankawa Indian chief and a gold locket. However, there were some, including Andrew Mills, who wrote the book The Female Stranger, and Archibald Mercer Mystery, that go with the theory that Theodosia Burr Alston was the female stranger. In addition, the Times-Picayune, the New Orleans Advocate, even published an article in 1893 stating that the female stranger was indeed Theodosia Burr Alston, and that her husband, Joseph Alston, was seen visiting the grave in 1823. There have also been other theories that has garnered attention over the years. One theory states that the stranger married her own sibling, which would explain the need for the privacy, while another states that the stranger was Sarah Curran, the fiancée of the Irish revolutionist Robert Emmet. Another theory raised is that the grave of the female stranger is actually empty, and the fact that only the husband witnessed the death, and he alone sealed the coffin up, has led some to believe that the couple had faked the stranger's death to earn quick money from innocent sympathizers. However, this theory, much like the other theories mentioned before, is mere speculation. Although, this does bring attention to who the husband really was, and there have been a few questions raised regarding that. The local businessman who lent money to the husband, named Lawrence Hill, claims that he confronted the husband later at Sing Sing prison, and states that the surname of the husband was Clermont. Like other aspects of the story, it's not possible to verify this claim. However, there was a businessman named Lawrence Hill living in Alexandria at the time of the stranger's passing. There have been rumors that the husband returned to Alexandria with a crew and exhumed the body and took it back with him. However, they are just that, rumors. Going back to the Theodosia theory, one of the main problems with this theory is that the dates don't add up. Theodosia was 29 when she was lost at sea at the start of 1813, and if she was the stranger, she would have been 32 when she died. However, the inscription quite specifically states that she was 23 years old and 8 months, though this doesn't confirm that the stranger wasn't Theodosia. Since the husband went through so much trouble to hide the woman's identity, it is possible that the age on the inscription may have been faked. There is one more possible theory, not one that reveals the identity of the female stranger, but rather how she died, and that's suicide. If you go back to the inscriptions in the gravestone, 2 of the lines are, "A heap of dust alone remains of thee, 'tis all thou art, and all the proud shall be." These lines are a reference to the poem named Elegy to the Memory of an Unfortunate Lady, written by Alexander Pope in 1717, and it describes a woman who committed suicide and had a foreign burial which was unattended by relatives and friends. Maybe this part of the inscription on the grave was some type of hint as to how the female stranger died. It is likely then that the reason the husband went through the trouble to hide her identity was to either protect her memory or to avoid the surviving family of the woman being shamed. At the time of the stranger's passing, there was a lot of shame associated with suicide, and it was customary at the time for the deceased to be buried in secrecy. The problem with the suicide theory, though, is that the accounts, if they are true, suggest that the woman came down with an illness which lasted over weeks. This therefore makes suicide unlikely. As mentioned before, there are numerous accounts of the story told throughout the years, and lots of speculations to add to that. With so little evidence, it's difficult to give a concrete answer as to who the female stranger was, and why she was buried in secrecy. There have been debates around whether the remains, if any exist in the grave at all, should be exhumed and tested. For now though, the legend of the female stranger lives on through ghost tours. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like as it helps the channel out a lot, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this in the future.